Hey everyone, this is Dr. Reheisse from Revive Sport and Spine, and we are up at Max Muscle today in Cottonwood with dietitian Taylor Russell, and we are talking about nutrition tips for runners, the things we should and shouldn't do, and the things that we really need to know as runners to help us perform at our best and recover from injury. But first, I want to allow Taylor to introduce herself, who she is, what she does, and a little bit of her background.
Awesome. My name is Taylor Russell, like he said, and I work here at Max Muscle Cottonwood as a registered dietitian nutritionist. I specialize in nutrition counseling and helping people with meal plans and their nutrition goals, whether it's weight loss or sport performance. We can do it all here and help you achieve any of your nutrition goals through a lot of different methods, like I mentioned, meal plans and counseling and macros and a lot of different other options.
Perfect. So these questions get asked a lot to me about nutrition in the clinic, and I primarily focus on injury, keeping runners going, and nutrition is not really my forte. That's why I wanted to bring Taylor in to get the best advice that there is out there right now. So we have a few questions that people have asked us recently that we want to discuss, and that first one is, as runners, we stress our body a lot, we train hard. This time of year, it's around Christmas time that there's not a lot of rest going on. What do we need nutrition-wise as a runner to help us perform better, and also, more so than the average person?
Right. So runners, different from everyday people and even other athletes, runners need more carbohydrates, first and foremost, because carbohydrates are what give us energy and help us perform better on our runs. So carbs are things like fruit, some vegetables like potatoes and peas and corn, and all of our grains like rice and quinoa, and some of our dairy products like milk. Those have carbs in them too.
Perfect. Talking about runners and dealing with injuries, it's almost inevitable that runners are going to get injured. Anywhere from 70 to 80% get injured a year. That has a setback for about 2 weeks. Most of those are overuse related. What do you see is either lacking in the diets of runners that kind of cause those injuries a little bit, or what do we need to increase in our diet to make sure that we're not as prone to those injuries?
Right, so unfortunately we do get injured, and that can be from so many different reasons, but first and foremost, it's always important when we are injured to not overdo it and make sure we're getting rest. So that's the most important thing. And then with your diet, you definitely want to make sure you're getting adequate amount of protein. Sometimes we don't have a great diet, or we don't feel like eating as much, and so we'll just snack on complex or simple carbs, and those things don't really fill us up as much, but protein really helps to come in, repair the damaged tissue, and help you recover a lot better, and help you recover quicker than you would have if you were just to eat kind of those empty snacks that aren't as filling and aren't as good for muscle repair.
Perfect. I like how you brought in rest, because most runners may not know what rest means. So you do need rest outside of your nutritional intake when you do have an injury. That's really going to help your body repair itself.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and one other thing I wanted to mention too, when you are in an injured state, your body wants to make sure that you have enough anti-inflammatory food. So your body is in this inflamed state where they're trying to repair the muscle or the tissue that's damaged. So you might have, the pain and swelling or redness wherever the injury is. So you want to make sure that you're eating as much anti-inflammatory foods to help improve that healing process. So things that are anti-inflammatory, think not processed foods, so no junk food, no fast food. We're thinking healthy fats like avocados, nuts, seeds, things like ginger and turmeric. Those things can really help to come in and help the healing process be a lot faster with their anti-inflammatory properties.
Yeah, one of my favorite to actually tell people is pineapple. If you love pineapple, enjoy it, because it's a great natural anti-inflammatory. And if you like spices, turmeric's a great one to cook with as well. And that was kind of our next question. What can we do if we do get injured? How do we, outside of resting and some of those things, what other nutrients, should we increase our calories? Should we decrease our calories if we're not training? What happens there when we're injured?
Yeah, so the great thing about when we're training is that we need extra calories, we need extra nutrients. So typically our diets are pretty high calorie just to sustain training. Unfortunately, when we get injured, our body no longer needs those extra calories that you would have done through your long runs or just exercising in general. So try to be aware of that and make sure that you're not overeating, even when you're resting, because your body is used to a lot of calories, but it's also used to a lot of activity. So when you're in low activity, try to just make sure that you're eating according to your hunger and fullness cues and not overdoing it.
Perfect. And going into that, this is going to be the fun part where we're going to talk about some myths and truths about running and nutrition. And one of those that I've always said is I run a lot, so I can therefore eat whatever I want to. But that tends to be detrimental after, the goal race of the season. I'm done with a marathon or an Ironman, and I'm still eating that same way like I was training afterwards. That can really wreak havoc on, as far as like weight gain and things like that. But what are some of the other common myths out there and some of the truths that are related to runners and nutrition?
So one myth that I actually believed for a really long time and implemented was carb loading. So I thought that you had to have the night before a race a huge pasta dinner with endless pasta, yummy marinara,
and bread,
and Alfredo,
and butter, and all kinds of things.
Unfortunately, if you're just going to get up and run a 5K in the morning, you don't actually utilize those stored carbs as much, and all you're doing is overeating the night before, and so that can just make you feel more sluggish and tired for your race. But if your race is longer than an hour, some studies have shown that doing a little bit of carb loading, again, not going all out on the carbs and forgetting the healthy fat and the healthy protein as well, then if you do add a little bit extra carbs, it can help a little bit for performance.
Perfect. What are some of the other myths that we have about protein, calorie limits, things like that?
Yeah, so our body can only handle so much protein. I think sometimes in the industry with, running and exercise, sometimes it's the more protein, the better. But unfortunately with runners, that's not always the case. So you want to make sure that your breakdown fits your body. So whether it's having 60% of your calories come from carbs, 20% coming from protein, and 20% coming from fat, that's kind of the average that many runners like to follow. But again, listening to your own body and knowing what your body needs specifically and likes specifically to you is what you need to find out and figure out what works best for you, instead of just following all the random diet information that's out there on the web these days.
Excellent. And one thing too that I'd like to mention is I've been victim to this before. Don't try anything new the night before or the day of. That just spells disaster for most people. Stick to what your body's used to and what your normal routine is before a race. With that, what are some of your best pre-race meals, suggestions, things like that?
So it all depends on, your taste preferences, but what I like to eat, and this is just from trial and error, but the night before I usually like to have a lot of vegetables, any types of vegetables. I love sweet potatoes and broccoli. I love making a huge stir fry with vegetables, and sometimes I throw in some noodles with some sort of lean protein. So whether it's fish or chicken, I always feel really light the next day when I have a lean protein. So if I have something like red meat that typically is higher in fat, I usually just feel a little bit more bogged down in the morning and not as quick. And the vegetables and chicken just sit really well on my stomach. And then usually right before a race, and this is my own ritual, I love to have toast with peanut butter, not too much peanut butter, and half of a banana. It's always worked for me, and that's what I've loved. It sits well on my stomach, and sometimes I'll have a string cheese, but that's kind of what works for me.
Perfect. And that's, one thing that I like that you said is we're all trying to look to feel lighter on race day and not feel heavy with the meal that we ate the night before. And I'm also with you. My pre-race, really for any distance, is a waffle with peanut butter or sun butter we like in our house, and a whole banana. So I'm just half a banana away from you on that. And then lastly is post-race. So a lot of us get through that finishing shoot and you usually have about 3 options. You've got a water, banana, chocolate milk, and depending on where you're at, a beer. So what is your post-race nutrition suggestions?
So I would say maybe skip the beer or soda or whatever kind of empty calorie drink they're offering. Typically it's cheaper and they're just not as filling. They don't have as many nutrients. And what you really need to replenish your body with is water, electrolytes, and some sort of protein and carbohydrates. And try to get that in within 30 minutes after your race. Sometimes I've gone home from a race and realized my stomach just didn't really feel very good. I didn't eat for an hour, and guess how many days I was sore after that race? way longer than I should have been. I didn't feel good. I didn't feel replenished. So try to pack something in your bag that you can have post-race that it's really going to fill you up and then help tide you over till you actually get a good meal in you. So make sure you have some carbohydrates, and try to have some complex carbohydrates like the fruit or vegetables or pasta, bread, something like that to get in your belly so that you can get all those carbs replenished from your long race. And then try to have some sort of protein like a cheese stick or beef jerky, something like that to help replenish your muscles. And then again, try to skip the extra empty calories,
at the end. Well, perfect. Thank you so much for that information. Hopefully that's useful to you guys out there. Many of us train really hard, and nutrition is not where we focus, but it can have a huge impact on how you recover, your injury prevention, and how you perform on race day. So, don't take your nutrition lightly. We put a lot of working out on the roads, on your bike, on the trails, and you're almost wasting that if you're not taking care of your nutrition as well. So, as we wrap this up, I just want to thank Taylor for allowing us to do this and coming to the store today. Can you just tell people how they can reach you and any specials you guys might have going on as we go to the new year?
For sure. So we'll put all this information below so you can have it, but you can always email me at dietitiantayla@gmail.com, or feel free to call at 435-553-5698. And you can always reach out. We do free consultations for anybody that's interested, just so we can show you what we offer, and you don't have to feel any pressure for signing up. And if your insurance qualifies, we're also able to bill your insurance so it's at a little or no cost to you. Or you can also pay through your HSA. So there are lots of options for payment, and we can find the best one that fits for you. And then if you mention this video or mention this Facebook Live, then you get 10% off our nutrition services here. So just make sure you mention that, and we'll give you that great discount.
Fantastic. Thank you. And as we go into the new year, that's going to be a needed service for a lot of us. But if you do have any questions, please comment on this video. We'll get that to Taylor, make sure she sees that, and she can answer those questions if you have any other burning desires. So thanks for joining us, and we hope to see you all after the holidays. Have a great holiday season, and train hard and take care of your nutrition. Thanks so much.
As Taylor mentioned, some of the great anti-inflammatory products that are really great are ginger, turmeric, chondroitin, glucosamine. We've got a great joint relief for that. All of our products, the great thing about our products is we get them third-party tested to ensure the quality, so whatever we claim is in these bottles is actually in there, so that you're not getting any fillers or any synthetic things. You've got a great multivitamin. Being in liquid form, you're going to absorb 9 to 10 times more of it. Carbohydrates was mentioned a lot. This UCAN product is a carbohydrate that is quick digesting, but it doesn't raise your blood sugar. So it's going to give you that steady release of energy, and so that you're able to go over a longer distance. We've got a collagen protein, and collagen is one of the most abundant peptides in the hair, skin, nails, but also in the connective tissue, the joints. And so it's an awesome one for anti-inflammatory properties. And then you've got your fish oil that's got your good omega-3 fatty acids that were mentioned. Also anti-inflammatory, great for hair, skin, nails, everything, heart health, cholesterol, and your joints. So these are a great package for runners. And if you have any questions, let us know.